Здравствуйте, друзья! Наша программа сегодня будет на английском языке, потому что нам надо сохранить связь с этой землей и черпать из нее ту силу, которую нам дает сегодняшняя ситуация в целом. Поэтому я хочу... I want to introduce Estee Palti here. You know her. She's... She's a remarkable person, very brave lady who became the voice of Kamala Harris. Kamala. But the witch is back, right? As Elton John would put it, right? What's happening? Yes.
She is back. It's lovely to be back. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, she just doesn't disappear. I'm not complaining personally, but I don't think America and the world just wants her around anymore. But she just doesn't get the hint.
Yeah, like certain things. In some, let me send Ina the link because she doesn't see the link somehow. She's late. She's at work right now.
She's a busy woman, and it's nice that she has time to come on and speak to the people.
Yeah, she'll be with us in a bit. She wants the email. I send it to her email. I'll send it to her again. So we'll be good. Okay. Okay. Sent it. Okay. Guys, sorry about the engine room. You're in the engine room right now, but the ship is going to be straightened. So yesterday, you have something to do with medical profession. What's your impression of yesterday's hearing with Dr. Fauci at the Senate?
It was nice to be validated, to see that he made a lot of mistakes and they're finally coming to light. I was very unhappy with the way that he led this entire situation. If you remember, and I don't really do a Fauci impression, comedy aside, but if you remember, 2020, I remember this consistent with him, where all he did was say, probably maybe in 3 or 4 months, and, maybe likely if we really work together and if we social distance, the probability of reopening the country, maybe 4 or 5 more months. And every single time you heard him talk, he just continued to give that extension. He was a little bit of a bully, I remember. And just as a nurse, the expertise around the masks, the social distancing, the constant lying around the vaccine, which was very obvious. First, they said, you get the vaccine, you are not going to get the virus. And then once people started getting the vaccine, all of a sudden it became, well, you can still get the virus, but now it's just going to be more mild. So we're still saving lives. And the whole thing was just so much theater. And it was really ridiculous. And a lot of people were bamboozled. I don't think it's right that people weren't able to say goodbye to their loved ones. But also, in the same breath, I will say that, what is going to be done now? Yelling at him for 3 hours, that's my opinion, is one thing. But I find this to be a little bit theatrical. Yes, they screamed at him. Yes, he pled the fifth. That's his right. He was pardoned until a certain point. But I want to see him in cuffs. I personally want that. I just don't think that we're going to get a real level of accountability after yesterday's hearing. What do you think about this?
I had 2 streams yesterday. First was direct translation, simultaneous from what's going on. And we went for an hour or so, and then I said, "Listen, nothing's going to happen. We'll come back to it when we see something of a value, eternal value." And then I came in the evening and on my stream, and I translated, already recorded, Josh Hawley as part, and John Fetterman's part. And then the Bernie Moreno's part.
Moreno's great.
Yeah, he was fantastic. He used the right words.
Good language.
2 of them.
My style.
Yeah, it was nice. And, the whole position of Anthony Fauci was the position of this aubergine from an old joke, the old guy, woman come to him. In the earlier times, before our time, people didn't know they wanted to know the sex of the baby. I cannot say the word gender anymore. So the sex of the baby was important to them. They would come to a doctor, say, "Is it a girl or a boy? What are you saying, doc?" And doc, after doing some, moving around the office, and he would say, "It's a boy. It's going to be a boy." And then he opened his diary, diary, and he write, date, name, it will be a girl. So it's a boy. Everybody's happy. Nobody's calling back to the doctor. You were right, though. This doctor's good. He was right. Or if it's a girl, they come to him and he shows them the diary. This is the classical definition of plausible deniability. If people doubt what it is, this is what it is. So
Mhm.
you can give a credible explanation of the opposite what you just said. So that's what he was doing, and with his diary, and throughout his career, I think that it will work. But there are some opinion that it may not work. And then there is like all that's the part of the iceberg that's over the water, right? And there's underwater part when Newsom's and De Blasio's and all those people, all those people, they would call him and ask him what to do, doctor, tell us what to do. And he would give them advices like this Burke's lady with a scarf who was showing with him on most of the events, the lady doctor, whatever scientist. She was saying, now she said that maybe they overclosed because it was election year. There was the connection between a mask and the election year. Anybody, smart Americans, like big Wall Street guys? What do you think? Those who voted for Mamdani later on. What's the connection? Do you feel the connection? Of course, it was a political theater. Of course, they say the politics is a show business for the ugly. That's why we're not in politics, right? Because we're beautiful.
Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah, but you look at it, of course, that's all they can do. But basically, the situation is so that Constitution of the United States is something that cannot be changed very quickly. It needs some changes, but not the ones that liberals want.
It's not even the liberals anymore, Yuri. The problem is, we joked around just now in the beginning about Kamala Harris coming back, that nobody likes her. The problem is Mamdani, too, was underestimated, and it's the DSA. My concern, actually, is that Kamala Harris actually has a winning chance because she just recently made a phone call to Mamdani. So what it looks like to me is she knows she doesn't have the support of the original Democratic base. She knows she messed up. She knows that entire thing was a complete, show. It was completely ridiculous. She lost in a very humiliating manner. She lost the popular vote, every swing state. She lost $1 billion in campaign funding. Very, very embarrassing. But the democratic socialists of this world, which are also the Islamists of this world, right now, this is a mentally ill demographic that's growing very, very severely, and it's growing across the board. So it's the biggest in New York. The DSA is the largest in New York, but they are gaining massive momentum. They are funded heavily. And if they rally behind Kamala Harris, we're in big trouble. We're in big trouble because we actually have people that think that her and AOC would be a magical ticket, and they would be the secret to ushering in the communism that Mamdani hides behind, a socialist mask. But my frustration comes from what is anyone doing about it? I'm frustrated with the GOP. What are we going to do about this before it happens? Why, we cry after it happens. What are we going to do to prevent this? I was under the impression it's illegal to be communist in America, but we see it clear as day. It's kind of not only very loud and proud, it's taking over. This is where I'm confused. What is happening? We have law and order. We have the constitutional. We are a constitutional republic. What is going on? Why is nobody screaming at the mountaintops to stop this nonsense from taking over? Because the DSA is talking about taking away the Constitution, taking away everything that we know, abolishing the House, abolishing every prison in America. These people are sick. This is a sickness. This is an ideology that's completely sick. And it's a red-green alliance with the Islamists. So the Islamists are using them. They're using the Islamists. And it's bad all around. It's really, really bad.
It's bad. And the idea of I'm amazed, frankly. Of course, some people are terrified by this. Some people are surprised by this. But I'm amazed how steady this anti-Semitism thing going, how dependable this as a weapon, as a cudgel against the society. And hopefully we get Ina. She will bring us up to speed of what's going on in the city council, because there are like 7 or 8 of them. Imagine you're sitting in a room with 50 plus 51 or 57 of city council members, and only 7 of them are Republicans, including, I think, those Democrats who have some constituency that is not entirely nuts.
It's upsetting that the normal population is very underrepresented. It is upsetting, especially in New York. But I mean, God bless people like Ina. She's fighting the good fight, and hopefully we have more constituents that come into office and try to make some changes. There she is now, woman of the hour.
Here she is now. We're ready for you. Hello.
This is so exciting.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi. Can I just? Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry. I interrupted your conversation, but you just. Oh my God! You brought so much like light and laughter into our community when we were watching this crazy election. And I want to thank you. You're so awesome. And I have to tell you off the bat, you're going to have to do a Kamala Harris.
I can burden you as much as you want. We can just burden what has been together.
I would love for you to unburden what has been when it comes to Zohran Mamdani. Can we unburden right now?
No, I mean, listen, let me be clear. Mamdani and the goats, they're becoming a problem. They're becoming a problem in New York City.
That is so awesome. How did you get her on? This is amazing.
So
me and your old friend Dave reached out. He did the from the grassroots. He kind of just got in the DMs and was like, listen, Brooklyn loves you. We got to sit down and talk. And I just want to say it's an absolute pleasure to meet you. You are a very powerful woman in politics. You just walked into me saying, she's outnumbered and we need more people, more constituents to represent the massive majority that we have here. That's normal. That is sadly underrepresented, like in Queens, for example. So hopefully, we turn things around and not have a Mamdani takeover.
Yeah, it's been tough, but I think that next election we can really we can beat Mamdani. If we look at the previous election with Cuomo, Mamdani, and Curtis Lewa, Cuomo was not a liked candidate, and he was not on the Democrat line. And if you look at the position where he was on the ballot, it was a position that was unseen. And with all of that, all his baggage, with him not being on the Democratic line, with him being on a ballot position that was not beneficial to him at all, he still got close to 1 million votes. And now Mayor Mamdani, I like to just call him Mamdani. Mamdani's been in office for 6 months now, and he's already, shown himself, and he's managed to piss off so many groups of people.
Yep.
Not just the Jews, by far not just the Jews, that I hope this is really going to ignite all these people who didn't come out to vote, and we could really, unite around a moderate. And we're very early. I'm not even saying that it's going to be a Republican. I crossed party lines last time to endorse Cuomo just because I felt like our community is facing such an existential threat that it's not about Democrat or Republican. It's just about like somebody more normal than this.
1000% agreed. Cuomo had I voted for him. I met him. I shook his hand. I said, if I can help you, because at this point it's about saving New York. We have to put our differences aside. And, unfortunately, he did get in, but I agree with you completely. I think this is maybe the light under everyone's ass that they needed to get out there, get involved and just vote, because the voter turnout was horrific. And really, we just didn't. We could have pushed him out. And sadly, he came in and he's really shown his face. I agree with you 100%.
If you want to talk about American tragedy, this is our tragedy, our midterm elections. People just sitting and they're waiting for somebody to do the job. They want the result for which they don't want to move their butts. That's important. People, слушайте нас, выходите на выборы, голосовать за правильных людей, не уходите из программ, которые вам рассказывают и стараются сопоставить факты, не столько выпендриваться на интернете, сколько дать вам факты, дать вам правду, дать вам то, с чем мы сами живем здесь. В этом вся идея.
I said this from my first election. I was talking about this. People tend to not connect the dots between the ballot and going to the ballot box and what they're seeing on their streets. So like right now, we're gonna talk about the homeless shelter in my neighborhood. We have this homeless shelter, and I've been asking some of the people that are very upset about it if they voted, and some of them, they don't even know who's on the ballot.
Story of my life.
Like that's the problem. The problem is they're coming out and seeing all these issues roll out on their streets. They're getting a homeless shelter. It's too dirty. They have homeless sleeping on the streets. These are all because of policies that our elected officials put forth, and they don't understand that if they just come out to vote, they could make a difference.
There's a very big misconception. People assume that local politics don't matter, when actually I tell people they are the most important, especially to affect where you live. Trump is not going to go save you. He's not going to be able to, like, you have to stop idolizing anybody that is at the highest level of office. Local politics not only matter, people are like, it's rigged. I've heard every and any excuse in the book to not go out and vote. And I always tell people, like, listen, you have to stop crying then if you don't do your due diligence as a citizen and vote and take your districts back and take your country back and take your city back. It starts at a local level. Then you really just lose the right to complain. And I agree with you 1000%. It's very difficult to speak to. I can speak to my community in Queens, Baharian Jews, a very stubborn group. And we've been here for about 30, 40 years, some of us. And it's like, guys, it's been time. It's been time to get involved. Like, the weaponizing and the incompetence around the voting is no more. If you have an elderly person, take them out, take their hand, take them with you to vote. If you have somebody that, is registered as a Republican and there's a primary, register them as a Democrat. Let them be involved in the process. So there are so many things that we can do. It will, at this point, really just take a huge collective effort of New Yorkers that want to save their city to take it back.
Speaking of rigged elections, by the way, I heard a lot about that when I was running the first time because of the Trump election. Yes. I am literally the perfect example as to why you could actually say it's not rigged, at the very least in New York City, because I've literally won 4 elections in a landslide. And believe me, that the Democrats would love to see me gone. But
I believe you. And you are a great example. I use you by name all the time. I'm like, how did Ina get in then? Like, we have one of our own in there.
I would not be in here.
Listen, yes. What I wanted to throw into the mix is that look at the curve. It's a very steep learning curve. First, they came for Jews and Bibi Netanyahu, right? And it hasn't even cooled down yet. This whole scandal about the idea to arrest the prime minister of Israel. And then this document came out, this list of the people with the pied-à-terre within the city. And already everybody's in the mix. Most of the supporters of Mamdani, they have second home over $5 million worth. But in this list is much more people. It's like 30,000 people I hear of people who have people who have such home over $5 million worth. Most of them are from Hollywood. They're from California. They're from elsewhere, from foreigners, from Wall Street, etc., etc. But the whole list is much bigger than 30,000. Can you tell me what's going on with this?
Yeah, can you confirm? Because I'm hearing, and I didn't verify this before the interview. I wanted to ask you directly. I'm hearing that it's 5 million plus if you own a home, but it's $1 million plus if it's a condo and an apartment. Is that true?
So it was supposed to be for residents, for out of New York City residents who own a second home in New York for over 5 million. Now it's basically that plus anybody whose home is, whose condo or co-op is over 1 million. Now, so I'm not going to say who, but I have family that's on the list. It's like everyone's on the list. Everyone I've been talking to, my colleague, Councilmember David Carr, the minority leader of the city council, he's on the list, right? So, and his home is definitely not, according to him, 1 million. My family's home is not 1 million either, but I guess the DOF estimated that its value is 1 million, so they put my family member on the list. They're not supposed to be on the list at all because this is not a second home for my family member. This is their first home. They may not live in there. They may be renting it out, but that's exempt. So what they did was just completely botch this, by the way, in my opinion, totally intentionally, because this is not about like taxing the rich. This is about taxing and driving out the rich and the middle class, who they consider the rich, right? Like, according to them, I'm rich. I make $150,000 a year. That's my salary. I'm rich. Okay, and this is totally pandering to Mamdani's base. They love this. They love this. Oh, we're gonna drive out all the rich. You're hurting the middle class, and you're hurting your own voters. Is it so shocking to see that a communist government is handing out lists and they're not doing what they promised. They say they're going to tax the rich, but they're really putting a burden on the middle class and everyone else. Is it really a surprise that a communist government's doing that? Is it a surprise they're putting out a list of people? Didn't they do that? Aren't we all from the former Soviet Union where they literally did all this crap?
And so the very same. Go ahead.
Isn't this very unsafe? I'm sorry, isn't this insanely unsafe? What if something happens to one of these people that's on this list? I feel like he's feeding this list to his base, and if this socialist
it's nuclear doxing. It's nuclear doxing, like a bacteriological weapon.
To do this after this guy Luigi Mangione murdered the CEO because of his corporate decisions, right? And look at that movement. Look at how much support this has. Right? It's crazy. These people are absolutely mentally ill. I'm sorry. This is a mental illness that we have in this country. This guy has such a following. 20 years ago, you couldn't imagine someone like that who murdered an innocent guy for his decisions, right? To be somebody, he's become famous. He gets fan letters. Right?
Even on a lower level, there's a company. I'm sorry, two guys, religious Jews. They started a startup, and they one of them wrote to a guy, an NYU student, asking him if he would like to be an intern with pay at his company, and he said, "I don't work for the Jews." Frankov, Frank is his last name. And of course, this guy, the owner of the company, of the startup, he made it public. He was stunned, and this person, this Austin Frank or something like that, from NYU or from Cornell, he got invited to a lot of shows, and they arranged a fundraiser for him. He raised $25,000.
Yes.
$25,000 for just offhand remark that he doesn't work for peddling his hatred. $25,000. Who gave him this money?
They're totally putting a target on the backs of these people, right? And it was supposed to be, by the way, the list was supposed to be 30,000 people. It's 968,000, something like that, right? It's pretty much every property owner who, according to them, owns a property that's worth over $1 million.
Which is not true.
It's
Since
not
you
true.
know the people who are really the owners and you know the inside.
And even if it was true, why would you put a target on the backs of these people?
I mean, he's really, it's exactly what you said. He's pandering to his base, and he's trying to purposely feed them to the people that hate America. At the end of the day, the Democratic Socialists are openly hateful to America. He surrounds himself with people that hate America. Look at Hassan Piker, who said that Americans deserve 9/11. He's purposely, friendly with him and all over social media. And when people have respectfully asked, for example, don't show up to this memorial. This is offensive to us. You obviously are not on our side. And he doubles down and says, I will absolutely be there. Everything he does is to upset New Yorkers. It's on purpose. And I feel like he's doing it almost in a way to tease them. It was the same thing of his threat to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. He knows he doesn't have the power, but it was just to feed his base and get them angrier and angrier so that they can do the dirty work for him. He's a very dangerous politician. Very dangerous.
100%.
What do you think? Will he show up? Will Mamdani show up for 9/11? Quarter of century, time flies. 25 years ago it happened. Would he?
Because he's doing exactly what Estee saying. He will absolutely come. Yeah, just like he makes statements. Anti-Semitism.
On the 4th of July if quarter of my millennia is nothing for him, right? It's
well, Yuri, listen to this. He came out in an interview and said that the idea of Israel is an idea. And the very next day, what did he say? He said, I wish every Jew a peaceful Tisha B'Av, which is a holiday commemorating the loss of our temple. So now Israel is no longer an idea. All of it is on purpose. He will put out a tweet that he is not in support of anti-Semitism, but everything he says and does pushes towards anti-Semitism. So he is a perfect politician. He's Obama 2.0 in my eyes. And I feel like I see it clear as day, but for some reason, there are people that are like, no, he's going to do good for New York. He wants this, free that. And it's a show. It's a show. It's political theater.
I'll tell you about free grocery stores. Fine. Okay. There's a huge competition. I just got a $10 for nothing from Lidl store that's opened in the neighborhood. But the grocery stores that he wants to open, who's the spokeswoman for this store? Rama Duvaji is a spokeswoman for the store. She will be the one. Yeah. I just read it in the news. Salary, $400,000 a year. How about this, Apples? What do you think? $400,000 a year. Rama Duvaji, spokeswoman.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Maybe
By the way,
95% is true.
That's just to kill small businesses. Think about it. You're creating competition for our small businesses. Our small businesses are the backbone of our economy. So he's going to try to kill our small businesses by doing this. And of course, it's not going to work. They tried this model in Kansas City, and it failed. Because, hey, hacker, nothing is free. Somebody has to pay for it.
It's my understanding they're not even free. Why do they keep saying it's free? It's 30% reduced cost. It's not free at all. Why do they keep saying the word free?
I mean, the buses, right? He said free buses. It was never going to be free buses. And in fact, we know 2 days after he got sworn in, the bus fares went up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why I was making the Bibi Netanyahu as such a big example of his failed promises, because it was like so obvious that it was going to fail on its face, and he had to admit that he's not going to be able to arrest him when this was literally one of his core campaign promises, to arrest the prime minister of the only Jewish state. And I was laughing about it on Fox News months ago when I was on Barney, and I was saying how we're gonna all be laughing about it because he's not going to be able to do it, and Bibi's going to come to New York, and he's going to be the laughing stock, and that's what's going to happen in September. It's the same thing with all of his other promises. He promised free buses. The day after he gets elected, the bus fares go up. He promises whatever else he promises. It's all.
Yeah, he'll be a mayor for all New Yorkers. Right?
It's all fluff. Sure. By the way, I want to mention, and I talked about this too. I don't know, Estee, if you saw it, but I want us to pay attention to how Italian Americans dealt with the whole Little Italy situation, because I've been watching the way that the Jewish community is handling anti-Semitism. That's been exploding. I mean, it's unprecedented, right? An unprecedented explosion of anti-Semitism in our city, in our country. But Italian Americans, literally, they were left off a symbolic map, and in 24 hours, they literally unleashed social media hell on this boy blunder, Mamdani, and he immediately, I mean, he was shaking in his knees, right? Like, he immediately, 24 hours later, said, Little Italy's back on the map. Okay, and that's one little thing that he did against Italian Americans.
Well, maybe the 5 families contacted him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I was looking at the same map, ladies.
I know what you mean.
Right. She's right. Ina is right. And with the second that happened, I was actually telling everybody.
Quiet. This is crazy. This is nuts. Wake up. Do you want to walk to the gas chambers? Come on. This has been so frustrating to me to watch. Everyone's quiet. You see that he didn't appoint a single Jewish lawyer to his judicial committee. Not a single Jewish lawyer in a city where 50% of lawyers are Jews.
What I'm seeing is the Jewish community. What I'm seeing is they consistently act hurt. They act offended. They're clutching their pearls. How is he doing this? Why are you guys allowing this? Why are you guys allowing this? I'm like, why are you being such chickens about it? Stop complaining about it, just crying about it. First of all, fight back in these situations. I'm not over here inciting violence whatsoever. Don't get me wrong. But there are issues that we're, things I see. Like the Italian community, I'm sure they came out in droves together with the same anger, the same strength. I personally saw it. I made a video about it. They all came out together and they said, listen, you need to fix this, or, we're not going to be happy with you kind of thing. It was a very almost threatening demeanor, an undertone. The Jewish community, for some reason, doesn't have that backbone anymore. I don't know what happened to it. I feel like we've always kind of been a nation of speaking with our donations and with our influence, maybe, but it's enough is enough. We are at a time now where, listen, people are just kind of like clutching their pearls, expecting someone to come save them. Nobody is going to come save you. You guys need to get strong. You need to be more powerful. And elections matter. This is one of those things where I say, at least, at the very least, fight back in this way. But to clutch your pearls and just say, how can he say this? He's making it more dangerous.
Please,
Yes.
please change this.
Yeah, it's ludicrous.
No, the thing is that Jewish community has very different experience compared to others. We don't want a lot of people. I would say we don't want a little Jerusalem on the map for some reason, because we are on the receiving part of this anti-Semitism. The anti-Semitic crime, is the highest percentage of hatred-based crime in America. That's I think that that was one of the reasons why our people, they go to the shul regularly. We have a very big part of people observing the holidays, and that's the experience of generations.
Because look at Williamsburg, Yura. Look at our people. At some point, when they were all completely turned away in Nazi Germany, they came over here and said, "You know what? We'll make our own shmira. We'll make our own Hatzalah. We don't want to have to depend on the taxpayer-funded programs because you believe that Jews are less than, or you have filled your mind with hatred. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to create our own little coalition, and we're still going to succeed." And that part of it just pisses them off. I honestly think that at this point, even when I talk to people that even aren't, I don't want to say not pro-Mamdani, but sometimes I talk to them and they make light of the anti-Semitism. And they're like, listen, I don't have a problem with Jews, but why do you guys get so sensitive about this stuff? Why just go somewhere else? And I'm like, what are you kidding me? Look at the course of history. And this is exactly why we've always prevailed. We have always been resilient, and we'll just start over somewhere else and we'll create our own. And that part of it also really bothers them. On a fundamental level, it bothers them. Like, why are these people still around? Why are they succeeding? And they also turn the conversation to, oh, look, the Jews think they're better than everybody else. They have their own Hatzolah, they have their own Chabad, whatever. And I'm like, ask yourself why we do that. Why does Williamsburg mind their own damn business? Because they were tired of getting turned away from everywhere. So they became lawyers and they became doctors and they did their own thing with their own practices. So it's you can't win. You can't win. I saw a very popular video once where this guy says you want the Jews to you want people to stop hating you as for being a Jew, fail, stop succeeding, and then people will stop hating you. So I really feel like that's a big part of it.
Yeah, remember Rav Mir Kahane, and from time to time on my stream, since I'm close to Brighton Beach area, this is the Battle of Brighton Beach comes up quite often. And some days ago, someone who witnessed it here, who was part of it, he was on my stream as well. So it was tough always, and people used to fight literally sometimes, but generally it's today we have so many political tools. First of all, the elections. First of all, being politically like what Ben Franklin said 250 years ago or so. It's a republic if you can keep it, and looks like it's slipping away. It's a republic. It's not a democracy. It's as public wants. This is what the meaning of the word republic, res publica, in ancient Rome, by the way. So we have to keep it. We have to fight for it. And if we think that, oh, my daughter is voting for Mamdani, or my son is voting for Mamdani, that's okay. The rest will be voting against him. No, talk to them. Talk to them. You have the tools. You have the tools to talk to them. You know what socialism is. You know what communism is. As Friedrich Hayek said once, if Democrats knew economy, they wouldn't be Democrats. If they would knew economics, they would be no Democrats. That's the thing. So what we have in our neck of the woods, the shelter story, the romantic shelters for the searching souls of illegal immigrants are about to pop up in our area on Emmons Avenue.
Well,
We have some on Shipshead Bay, right?
They're here.
What's the story?
They're here. So we have a shelter that's been converted from a family shelter into an all-men shelter.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, as far as we know, there's about 40 men already in there. We've been obviously fighting it. We had a rally. We're now we wrote letters. We did get accomplished is that we got Controller Mark Levine to audit Braggs, which is the provider that's being contracted with the city, to provide all the services to the shelter. So that's being audited. So that hopefully can help a little bit. But we're also in court right now. We got denied a TRO. We requested a TRO. We got denied a couple days ago, and we appealed immediately. We have a great.
Can you say what TRL is? Because
yeah, sure. It's a temporary restraining order.
TRL,
You know, basically trying to stop them from transferring the men into the shelter. Unfortunately, by the time that the lawsuit was filed, I mean, this was done very quickly. We were not given a sufficient notice, which they're supposed to do by law, which is part of our lawsuit, that they did not give us a notice. Days after they told us that they're doing it, they already started transferring the men into the shelter. So, you know, like, my understanding is when we were standing outside the hotel, it was put together very quickly, but by the time we were standing outside the hotel, they were already either transferring them or some of them were already in there. Right. So very questionable vetting process. They told us they're not going to vet for sex offenders, and they told us they are vetting for sex offenders. You know, initially they told us that they were going to self-report their sex offender status, which is totally laughable. It's like insulting our intelligence, right? To tell us that they're going to volunteer their sex offender status. And then, of course, there are going to be people in there with criminal records. The community's already been seeing men outside that are clearly mentally ill and that are clearly have some kind of criminal record because of the stuff they're doing and the way they're behaving. And we're waiting any minute now to get we appealed 2 days ago, so we're waiting for a decision from the appellate court to come down hopefully today. So right now we're kind of just waiting on that. I mean, I think the only way to fight this is in the courts.
Do you know the price per capita? How much every person costs, and who's paying for it?
Our city, $81,000 per person, according to the report by the state comptroller. Yeah.
And they post now how to live in New York City for $40,000 a year, and this is $80,000.
Let me tell you something. Braggs, the provider for the shelter, is their senior executives were indicted for fraud and bribery, okay, and stealing taxpayer dollars. And Mamdani still gave them a $200 million contract. So we're talking about, this is all just a money-making machine, and they don't care to dump these people into our neighborhoods. And by the way, from what I'm hearing right now, it's only the conservative neighborhoods that didn't vote for Mamdani that are getting these. Okay, I don't see anything happening in Park Slope or Cobble Hill. It's all happening here. We're getting this. And by the way, we already have shelters. So it's not like we're an NIMBY.
But those people are not illegals, right? They used to be.
Know.
No, they just.
We don't know.
You don't know.
Not giving us the information.
Just listening to it boils my blood. I can't even. And look at these tactics purposely put into districts where there are mostly conservatives, like doing everything in its power to basically. It's not even annoy New Yorkers, just really push them out, burn the city to the ground. I can't make any other sense. Like, destroy it so that they can have other people move it. That's the only thing I can think of as to why a mayor would want to purposely hurt his own city this way.
I have two words for them. Nick Shirley.
We got to get him in here.
We're going to start
He's already
trying.
Doing some investigation. He'll make it to Brooklyn soon. God bless him.
Yeah, it's fantastic how many nice, articulate people, brave people. Last time he was, I saw him in MacArthur Park in San Francisco, and they literally chased him out of there because it was dangerous. It became dangerous, but he is the man in the streets. We need him, of course, and I think that our conservative Republican spokespeople are very active, very some disappoint, but on the whole, like Brian Kilmeade on the Fox, and Jesse Waters and others, Greg Gutfeld, of course, and his team, and the Five minus Jessica Tarlov are pretty pretty doing the job. They keep people interested in politics on a safe level, I would say, because people shouldn't go crazy about it. They still have to take kids to the places that fun to go to and see friends and have sleepovers and play dates and everything that kids supposed to have, because healthy childhood is important part. That's what we think here. I think that we may connect on this level with everybody.
Yeah.
Inchka, what else is happening? What can you say to our people here on Brighton Beach? What's the political plans of yours, if you have any, outside of daily struggle with the stuff
I
that
mean,
you
I'm just doing my thing, fighting for the community every day. Every day, especially with Mamdani in office. I mean, it's been getting worse and worse with the previous mayors, and I'm not saying things were amazing under Adams. Since De Blasio, things have been just going downhill. But with Mamdani, it's just every day there's something, and we're not even this summer. Usually, the summers kind of slow down with constituent services. But even this summer is not at all. Like, it's very busy. We are very busy with constituent issues, but also, issues on the city level, with this administration, with the homeless shelter. We're very busy with all these, this craziness, and trying to fight it. And that's what I'm going to do for the next 3.5 years. That's what I'm focused on. That's what I'm thinking about. So
good. You can expect help from us if you need. We are ready here. What do you think about Bruce Blakeman and his chances? From what I read, his chances are growing, and the gap between him and Katie Hochul is getting smaller. It's like 4%, 6%, something like that. It used to be much bigger. Does he have a chance? What needs to be done?
I think, again, it's important that people come out to vote, and we'll see. But we gotta keep going. We can't, no excuses, right? Like, we can't give excuses like Estee was saying. The election's rigged, I'm tired, I'm sick. No, it takes 10 minutes out of your day to go out to vote. So it's really important that people understand that we have to, if we want change, we have to vote. Whether it's in the midterms or in the next election, we have to do our part.
And the other side is very, very organized. I saw it myself with Mamdani's election, and he had the cabbie drivers even. He mobilized them to drive the elderly to go and register to vote and to vote. So, I don't have a defeated type of personality. So when I saw that, I was trying to, kind of like with other people in my community in Queens, like, we need to do the same thing. Why can't we do it? We have so much money in this community. Just for example, I just feel like people's priorities really truly were in a different place, and they kind of just assumed that Mamdani would not gain the traction that he did. They were like, this guy's a joke. Are you kidding me? He's never going to even make it in the primary. And I saw this very much like a ticking time bomb. And I said, you guys are, sorely mistaken. Don't underestimate this guy, and don't underestimate his entire base and their force. I mean, the DSA, every single person he endorsed just won their primaries. We need to make sure in the midterms that we do not let even one of these people come in. They openly hate America. They're talking about globalize the Intifada. None of these people's values coincide with Western values. All I'm telling people that are listening, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, doesn't matter. If you do not vote, you will lose your city to these people. We must vote. She fights for her district, only her district she's able to fight for. She fights for it every single day. We need more and more constituents to fight. If we don't have people fighting Mamdani, he's going to win. He's going to be able to bring these things to fruition. So this is my message and my warning sign to people for November. Blakeman absolutely has a chance, but it's really up to us, Yuri.
And Estee, I think we're going to need you in the Baharian community. I think you can help us bring out the vote, because that's a very conservative community. I would assume like 99.9% of that community is going to vote conservative or anti-Mamdani, right? So
yeah.
We need help bringing out those voters.
Absolutely. I mean, that's really, I've always said, like, I have this platform, and, the Kamala stuff was great, but if this is really the purpose of trying to kind of raise awareness, I've been kind of like yelling this for a long time. Like, guys, you have to get involved in the midterms. Like, we have to. So whatever way I can help, please, by all means, contact me offline, and I'm happy to help.
Well done.
Whichever way I can.
Estee, I want to put you on the spot.
Sure.
Please give us Kamala Harris one more time.
All right. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You know, today really is today. All right, let's start there. Today is today. And if you think about how yesterday was today yesterday.
That's right.
And, you know, moving forward, you know, when it comes to elections, think about it. You know, you don't really need the passage of time when it comes to an election, right? You need to just show up. You need to grab a drink, preferably make AOC make it. She makes
Professionally.
you see her, you tell her to make you a vodka cranberry. She makes the best ones. She got me through the whole presidency, really. But, you know, I implore everybody to unburden what has been and go out and vote. That's what I implore. Just don't fall out of a coconut tree.
Yeah,
amazing. You're amazing.
Oh, thank you.
ladies, thank you so very much for giving us your time and giving us some laughs and things to think about, and more importantly, to act upon. Thank you again.
Thank you. And please continue the activism. You are incredible. All of Queens absolutely loves you. Keep fighting the good fight.
Thank you so much. Will do.
See you soon, everybody.